Hello, this is Brother Ron. Thank you for joining us. Today's letter comes from Top Guesser, who writes, Dear Brother Ron, does the theist argument that abiogenesis is unlikely imply that gods are infinitely more unlikely? Many theists argue that even the basic proteins in the most basic forms of life are so complex as to make the chance of life coming into existence through random events impossible throughout the observable universe containing 100 billion galaxies, most galaxies containing billions of stars, many stars being part of their own solar system, in which may be planets capable of supporting carbon-based life as we know it, not to mention other forms of life, such as silicone-based and possibly more. Does this then imply that gods, being infinitely more complex, are infinitely more unlikely to come into existence through random events? Wouldn't that mean that the theist argument against abiogenesis is an argument against God? If abiogenesis is impossible, then so are gods. Should they just go back to their faith and leave the thinking to us? After all, no mature atheist claims to have absolute knowledge that gods couldn't possibly exist, right? Well, Top Guesser, first of all, for those unfamiliar with the term, abiogenesis refers to theories about the origins of life. There are two basic scientific theories about how this occurred. The first is the iron-sulfur world theory. This theory supposes that an early form of metabolism predated genetics. The other is the RNA world hypothesis, which proposes that a world filled with ribonucleic acid-based life predates current deoxyribonucleic acid-based life. Now, the first flaw in this argument is the statement that even the basic proteins in the most basic forms of life are so complex as to make the chance of life coming into existence through random events impossible. You go on to point out, correctly, that we have observed about 100 billion galaxies, each containing billions of stars. Given this enormous number of stars and billions of years, I think it is safe to say that anything that can happen probably has already happened. But all of this supposes that deities are limited to our limited concepts of space, time, and probabilities. This is not true. Our concept of space and time assumes that an object, including people, can only be at one place in any given time. It also assumes that we are incapable of moving backward or forward in time. It further assumes that there is only one chain of events. In other words, that which has happened and those things which will happen are the only things which could have happened or will happen. These assumptions are not valid in God's reality. God exists in all times, places, and realms of possibility simultaneously. So, any concept of things being statistically unlikely would be invalid in God's reality. So, once again, we see theologians attempting to practice science and scientists attempting to practice theology. Perhaps we would all be better off if everybody stuck to the field in which they are competent. Thank you for joining us.